everybody, it's Katie back with another episode of my vlog. And you guys know I don't like to get too negative on my vlog or in my thought patterns about my life in general. I find that negative thinking leads to more negative thinking and it creates a negative feedback loop, if you will, where you just kind of start complaining about things and then keep on adding on more and more things to complain about in your mind until you just feel really crappy about stuff. But sometimes we have to talk about the negative aspects of life. So in counterpoint to the Thanksgiving post that I did last week, I want to talk about one of the shittier aspects of the stroke dimension that I have not talked about before. And there's a lot of shitty aspects of the stroke dimension. But what I'm talking about is loneliness and how lonely the stroke dimension is, and how there's kind of a group of people who I really thought were my friends before all of this happened. And then once Sean had a stroke, a lot of those people I actually haven't heard from at all in 2 years plus. These are people who, again, I thought I was fairly close friends with. I obviously wasn't, since they don't give a shit about checking in with me or anything. And that's really sucked. I'm not going to name any names, don't worry. But it really sucked to be plunged into the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me. And to have lots of people step up and support and be super helpful and awesome. But a lot of other people just did not. A lot of people, like I said, just disappeared without saying anything. A lot of people acted like they were supportive and were down to help. And I even reached out to them and asked them for help with things. And then they promised me help and then flaked on me, which is like worse than not offering the help in the first place. And I get it that, people have shit comes up in their life and they can't, fulfill a promise they made or whatever. But it happened more than that. And I really started to notice it as a pattern. And some people even went so far as to totally betray us and steal from us while we're here in the stroke dimension. So, first of all, fuck those people, obviously. But this whole thing of being like abandoned by a bunch of, again, I'm not going to call these people my friends because they're clearly not, or flaked on by people, or totally just stolen from by people. It felt so weird and so the opposite of how anybody should be acting to someone who's going through a really awful traumatic experience in their life. But then as I started to navigate the stroke dimension, and specifically I kind of dipped into some online support groups, caregiver support, stroke survivor support, disability advocacy groups, stuff like that. I actually picked up on this as a trend right away. And in talking to other people who were in similar situations to mine, I found out that this isn't unique at all. And lots of people lose lots of friends when they go through something like this. And the explanation that was given to me by a lot of people was that, when someone has a major medical event, a stroke or a cancer diagnosis or a major disabling event or something like that happen in their life, for a lot of the people around them, it brings up a lot of negative feelings for them. And I'm sure that a lot of people we know saw Sean had a stroke and got completely freaked out and scared by that. And it brought up feelings of their own mortality, feelings of their own fragility, feelings of their own potential to have something like this happen to them. And rather than face those scary feelings and be good people and offer us the help and support that we really could have used at the time, they just ghosted on us. Which again, I understand the psychological explanation for what goes on there, but we all have stuff that we're afraid of. We all have things that we don't want to do or that make us feel uncomfortable. But the right thing to do is to still do them, even if you're scared. In fact, the brave thing to do is to still do things, even if you're scared to do them. So unfortunately, we had a bunch of cowardly people who couldn't deal and just disappeared from our lives. And that sucks. And it took me and Sean a while to get over it. But in the end, it's kind of, I don't want to say positive, but it's like everybody who I don't need to care about showed me that I don't need to care about them by doing this to us. So it's really weird and awful and disconcerting to be on the receiving end of that type of treatment, if you will. So I want to encourage you guys, if you have a friend who's going through something like a stroke or a cancer diagnosis or some majorly traumatic medical event that's happened to them, and you want to reach out to them and you want to offer them support, but you're feeling weird or scared or nervous or whatever, it's so much better for you to reach out and to ask how you can help that person than to just not. It sucks to not get that love from people just because they're scared. And of course, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. I said just because they're scared. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they hated me the whole time and they used this as an excuse to fuck off. But another thing that happened was some people showed up to help, and the help was not about actually helping us. It was about making themselves feel good as a helper, which is also really inappropriate and not helpful in any way. So I just want to encourage you guys. I don't think any other people who I'm saying negative things about right now would even be watching this. All of you guys have been very, very supportive of us and vocally supportive of us. But I just want to remind you that if you have other friends who are going through it, be there for them, really. Give them a kind word. If you offer help, follow through with the help that you've offered and don't make it be about you. Make it be about how you can help that person. And be there for the long haul. One of the other things that's been really noticeable in the stroke dimension is how much everyone wanted to help right at the beginning. When I was, frankly, in a totally traumatized state and could barely put one foot in front of the other, and I had all these people kind of banging down my door asking how they could help, and I wasn't ready to ask for help in a lot of situations. But of course, as time went by, the offers of help petered out, and at this point, there's just a very, very small handful of people who are regularly checking in, making sure we're okay, providing us with any kind of support that we need. Which again, it's natural and I understand that, but our shitty time that we're having is not over. Just because Sean's getting better daily doesn't mean that we're not still struggling daily. I'm a very strong person. I'm a very capable person. And I think I put that out there into the world. And so people don't think I need help, or want them to check in on me. But I love it when people check in on me. It really feels good to me. And I can't do everything myself. That's just the fact of it. But then the other thing I wanted to talk about in this vlog is that I am doing so much stuff by myself that I never did by myself before. I've always been surrounded by other people, helping sorts of people or partner sorts of people my whole life. Since marrying Sean, we've always done everything together. We've always had each other's back. And, when he had stroke and wound up in the hospital, I started having to do a ton of stuff that we used to do together by myself. I had to start doing a bunch of the stuff that Sean used to do, and I didn't even have to do it by myself. I had to start doing all these additional tasks of the stroke dimension by myself. So for me, the stroke dimension has been marked really by a lot of being alone. Even though I live in a house with 4 other people and I see them all day, every day, and they drive me nuts all day, every day. I'm alone a lot. I'm alone a lot more than I'm used to being alone. And It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm pretty comfortable in my own company. The hobbies that I choose are solo hobbies, making art, running, walking. These are all, do it by yourself. But there's a lot of times when I find myself, running an errand alone or taking care of some task alone and stopping and going, oh man, well, this would definitely be more fun if someone was here with me, but okay, I got this. I can do it. And that's kind of the positive spin of this whole thing is that I've experienced a lot of personal growth and my ability to get stuff done and to get stuff done by myself is now, 300% better than it ever used to be. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm a resilient person and I've figured out how to navigate this bizarrely stressful and difficult space, on my own to a certain extent. Again, like I said last week, there are people around us that are supporting us and helping us, and Sean is supporting and helping me. So I'm not completely on my own in that sense. But again, there's so much stuff that I just wind up having to do by myself. It's a pretty lonely time in the stroke dimension. So people ask me a lot, how you doing? And that's always a hard question for me to answer because the stroke dimension sucks. And then, the COVID DLC that you can put on top of the stroke dimension sucks even more. But again, I'm a pretty positive person. So it comes down to, well, I'm tired and I'm lonely. That's kind of what goes on for me. And again, the loneliness is not all bad. I am enjoying some of the solitary stuff, but man, it's such a change for me from the way things used to be in my life. And like I said, I've gotten used to it at this point, and I've grown into it and sort of stretched into it. But yeah, it's a pretty lonely place. So I don't really know how to conclude this, but I did want to share that with you guys because I don't think I talk about all the really negative aspects of what goes on, again, because I don't like to complain. So there you have it. It's lonely here in the stroke dimension, and there's not a lot of people who can totally understand or totally relate. There's some people who try, and again, I thank you for being there. And the people who check in with me, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's just kind of a lonely place to be. And lonelier still in COVID. I think a lot of people just kind of went into their own thing and are doing that now. Again, totally understandable, but it's made it even lonelier here in the stroke dimension. So, and I'm not even like asking you guys to reach out to me or anything like that. I just wanted to be real and talk about kind of some of the shittier aspects of it. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm actually not feeling that shitty today. I wrote this whole vlog on my morning walk, and then I had a pretty great morning, and I told Sean before I sat down to record this, I kind of don't even feel like complaining right now. But I felt like it was important to say, support your friends who are going through shit. Be there for them. Even if that's hard for you, even if that's a challenge, do it. And show up for them over and over again. If you have a friend who had a loved one die and you gave them that, sympathy right at the beginning, come back again in a month and check on them. And maybe another month and just check on them and see how they're doing, It's going to mean a lot to them, I guarantee you, because there's definitely a drop-off to people's concern over time, which is pretty dramatic. So be there for your friends, everyone. Be there for your loved ones. Show the people that you care about them by actually doing the hard stuff and showing up when it's hard to do it. Because that's how we're all going to get through all of this, right? All right, I'm really going to leave it there. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to be back in a few more days with the Cinema Club Sunday Roundup. Until then, everybody take care, and thanks for watching.